Hi Ian, lovely to meet up with you and do some further work on your game. It's been a little bit too long. Hopefully you won't leave it as long next time, and we won't have to go over these items that we covered during your return visit. Really what we needed to do was just tweak the setup a little bit. You can see on the far right that we've flared both feet out a little bit more. That's just going to free up the hip sockets because of the repositioning of the feet and the knees, etc., making it much easier for you to turn on a tilted angle. What you had done was sort of lost sight of what stack and tilt is in its simplest form, and that is a swing around a fixed axis with a constant inclination to the ground. So we can see here at the start of your session, you're way too much ahead of the golf ball as you go back. Then you start to lift. So the upper centre there has not maintained stability from face on, and when viewed from down the line, the swing or the golfer hasn't maintained his inclination to the ground. So we've compromised the main two pieces. If you were going to describe stack and tilt to anybody in its simplest form, it's a swing around a fixed point or a fixed axis with a stable inclination to the ground. How you achieve those two things will be different from player to player, as we discussed with the left knee situation, and again we'll touch on that in subsequent sessions when we meet again. If we watch Grant Waite, what he's doing here is, first of all, he's going to swing around a stable axis. There is a little bit of movement, that's why we say it's stable, not fixed. And Charlie Wee's going to swing with a consistent inclination to the ground, so the head is staying in the box from both face on and down the line. Now, one of the things we talked about was that using the knees correctly and the hips correctly can help you achieve what you're looking to achieve during the golf swing. What we've done here is we've put a cane or a shaft in the ground here, just as a visual, and asked you to stay on top of that cane during the backswing. Now, that obviously is a little bit easier than having someone hold a club to the side of your head to stop you moving around when practicing on your own. When you do that, you can see that, first of all, everything stays much more centered. We've also got the cane through the belt hoops, and the key thought for you here is to prevent this sort of movement, sort of where we lose the inclination to the ground and we start moving the centers around everywhere. What we ask you to think of here is getting this end of the cane working down as much as you possibly can, so that that left knee, whilst it is coming inwards as the hips turn, it continues to flex towards the target line to offset that turning movement and making sure that you're turning on a tilted angle. So the feeling is to get the tip of the cane on the left hand side, target side, working down as quickly as possible. You can see when you do that, left shoulder works down a tree. You're much more stable. A little bit of movement there, but this is quite early in the piece, maybe sort of 10-15 swings in. Much more stable, much more stacked on top of the golf ball. We've got much more side bending in the hips. The shoulders are turning much more, but they are turning on a tilted angle, so the left shoulders work down more, and both the upper centre and the lower centre have maintained stability. When we watch that same move, staying on top of the shaft that's in front of you, trying to work the cane that's through the belt hoops down, you can see that while there still is a little bit of loss of inclination, it's much more stable for longer than it was at the start of your session. There are a few residual things in there that, based on the way you've been swinging up on the top left, but the comparison there between top left and top right is quite a stark one, and it's the top right image that we want. We are side bending to the left. If we do a line down from the centre of the shoulders to the centre of the hips, that's side bending to the left slightly. Here, it's become a little bit of a caricature. The hip axis or the hip girdle has moved forward, the upper axis has moved forward, and the side bend is getting a little bit out of hand and has been created the wrong way. So much more similar to what you're seeing in the centre footage on the far right of your screen, both top and bottom, and we want to move away from what we see on the left hand side of the screen. As we discussed, everybody's different, everybody's got different levels of flexibility, heights, builds, etc., but they can all fit into the system. Hope this finds you well. I look forward to charting your progress over the coming weeks and look forward to meeting with you on the 8th of July. Well done.